Okay, we're going to solve some linear inequalities. Here, what you first want to do is graph what's called the boundary line. So you have a boundary line or a border line, and that's as if this were equal. It's going to be dotted if you have greater than or less than, and it's going to be solid if you have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So you know how to graph a line. Here my y-intercept is 1 and my slope is negative 2/3. So I can put that negative in the numerator or the denominator, but just not both. So I'm going to start at 1 and down 2 to the right 3. I could also go up and to the left. Now this just says less than, doesn't have the equal sign. So I'm going to join this with a dotted line. Okay, now you're going to shade one side or the other. So one whole side of this line is true and one side is false. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One is to pick a test point. 0, 0 is the easiest one to test. So is 0 less than negative 2/3 of 0 plus 1? Well, that's 0. Is 0 less than 1? Yes, it is. So if this one makes it true, this whole side would make it true. You can just kind of shade it in like that. I'll tell you the other way when we do the next problem. So the next problem, you got a couple of options on this one. You could find your intercepts, or you could solve that one for y. I'm going to solve for y, and I'll show you y. And then divide by negative 1. But remember, that flips the sign around. So my y-intercept is negative 6, and my slope is 2 over 1, up and to the right. So negative 6, up 2, 1 to the right, and again a broken line. And again, let's test 0, 0. 2 times 0 minus 0 is greater than 6. So 0 minus 0 is greater than 6. No, it's not. So we're not going to do that side. We're going to do this side. So testing a point is always a safe way to do it. There is a shortcut. But to do the shortcut, you must have y alone. Okay, so in this one we did have y alone. This is less than. Because it's less than, we're going to go under the boundary. If it's less than or equal to. If it's greater than or equal to, we're going to go above the boundary line. So here this was less than, so that's why we were below the line. This one, it started as greater than, but when we solved for y, it became less than, and that's why it's underneath. So that's why you really have to be careful with the shortcut. If you had done, say, the intercepts method here, and said 0, blank, and blank 0. When x is 0, y is negative 6, and when y is 0, x is 3. So 0, negative 6, and 3, 0, and you could join them. But you wouldn't know what side to shade, so then you definitely have to use a test point. So it is a quick method to use this shortcut. Again, if it's less than, you go below the line. If it's greater than, you go above. But you have to have y alone to see if your sign flips around. If you just had, sometimes you have a system of them, 2 at the same time. So y less than or equal to 3, you know y equals 3 is a horizontal line. It's less than or equal to, so I'm going to make it solid. And x is greater than negative 2. I'm going to make that one broken. Here's my x equals negative 2. I try to graph the lines first and then see where they would intersect. So I'm going to be less than the green line, which is here, and greater than the blue line, which would be here. So my shaded region is going to be in here. It's less than the green and greater than the blue. Or you could, again, put 0, 0 in here. Yeah, there's 0, 0. 0 is less than 3, but it's greater than negative 2. So there's your answer. Makes sense to label them. That's y equals 3 and x equals negative 2. And here's another system. System is when you have 2 at the same time. So I'll do the first one in green. 2x minus 3. Negative 3 for my y-intercept, 2 for my slope. a broken line. I do have y alone, so I could use that shortcut. It's less than, so I'm just going to sketch it a little bit and see what happens with the other one. And then the other one is negative half x plus 1. So our slope is negative 1 over 2, or 1 over negative 2. Our y-intercept is 1. So we start at 1, negative 1/2 for our slope. This has equal, so it's going to be a solid line. And then I would be greater than that one. So greater than would be this side. And then you can see where those two come together, and it's right in here. Okay, to be safe, you can test a point that's in that region. It helps if the x and the y are the same. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So let's try 4, 4. Is 4 less than 2 times 4 minus 3? 8 minus 3 is 5, yeah, that's true. And is 4 greater than negative half of 4 plus 1? Negative half of 4 is negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so yep, that's true too. So it's linear inequalities.